Let's talk about this more with NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber, who's also an anchor and host for the Law and Crime Network. Jesse, good morning to you. I wanted to just piggyback off something that Caitlin just mentioned there, and that's that, Pecker has been front and center the last 3 days. Checkbook journalism has really been front and center here. What's the strategy for starting off with him as opposed to the other heavy hitters like a Michael Cohen or a Stormy Daniels instead? What's that strategy?
Well, remember, prosecution wants to come out strong. And Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, even though they are the star witnesses in this case, the keys in this case, they have serious issues of credibility. And you don't want to start your case off with that. So what you want to do is bring in David Pecker, who is going to support the story of Michael Cohen. Now, remember, the other day, he testified to a number of things that were helpful to the prosecution. Remember, the name of the game here is to try to get Donald Trump convicted of a felony. In order to do that, you have to say that these payments and the illegal recording of the payment was all about the election, not for personal reasons. So when he said that he never did a catch and kill deal before 2015, and he's known Trump for years, that tends to show that. When he says that Trump knows what he's signing, he's very frugal with his money. The idea here is that Trump knows what he's spending his money on. But I will tell you, as Caitlin said, the cross-examination, he's not a perfect witness. Remember, David Pecker worked out an immunity deal with federal prosecutors. I'm sure that's something that Donald Trump's team will work with and say, does he have an incentive? And let's not forget what his profession is. The publisher of the National Enquirer, you make your living embellishing details for personal gain. I'm sure, again, that is something that Donald Trump's team will definitely hone in on.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points there. I mean, no lack of Trump headlines today. What do you make of the legal optics of today, Jesse? I mean, a double dose of hearings for the former president with this criminal trial, but also the Supreme Court hearing that's happening at the same time.
From a political point of view, I've always said that the legal cases are helping him. There's no shock there. But if we take it specifically, each legal issue, yes, he's dealing with the hush money payment in New York. I could talk all day about some of the problems I see in the prosecution's case, namely the idea of trying to get this to a felony. I'll go back to that in a second. But when you talk about the immunity issue, I have to be honest about this. It feels like a losing argument for Donald Trump. I think the idea of saying that a president has blanket immunity is not going to work. The idea that a president can only be prosecuted if they are impeached and convicted doesn't make legal or practical sense. And you're going to hear, I think, a lot today about Richard Nixon. I want to be clear about this. This is important. With the idea that Richard Nixon was pardoned, if you're wondering whether or not a president could face criminal prosecution, the idea that he was pardoned seems to me that you are recognizing the ability that a president could be criminally charged. Now, I will tell you, the only success I think Donald Trump could have in the immunity argument is if the court comes back and says we might believe in partial immunity. In other words, that a president could be immune for certain official acts. And Donald Trump would say, well, I was trying to ensure the integrity of the election. Prosecutors would say you really weren't engaging in election protection. You were engaging in election subversion. So I think it's going to be not a winning argument, but it's definitely going to be fascinating to hear both sides talk about it today.
And fascinating to see the ramifications that Supreme Court ruling will eventually have on everything else he has on the docket this year. Jesse Weber, thanks so much as always. We'll check back in soon.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Markie.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.